Hello, welcome to another tutorial of the Smart Grid layout. In this tutorial I'm going to go quickly over an advanced concept which the plugin allows you to build modular forms. Now modular forms is a way to basically construct and maintain very large forms in an easy way. To illustrate this modularity, I've built two forms for this tutorial, and you will notice that in the latest version 4.3, we now have a preview button where you can click on this and it'll preview the form that you're building. This is quite handy instead of having to put your shortcode into a page and then displaying the page to preview the form. Plus, this preview is actually in a draft form, so it only works when you actually log in. You cannot visualize the preview on the front end for non-login users. Right. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to look at two different forms. One is a form for someone who wants to buy some items interested to buy some items on a common forum, and another form which is basically a similar form but for people who actually want to sell some items on a public forum. So let's start off with the sales form. As you can see, I've got a section which collects the contact details of the person, and then below here is a little table structure where people can list the items for sale along with a price, and they can obviously add several items according to the table construct. If you are not familiar with the table construct, I suggest that you look at the repetitive fields tutorial, which will be linked in the comments below, in the description below. So in the second form I have a similar form, but in this case this is a form for someone who's looking to actually buy something. So they may not have found it on the form and they want to list some items that they're interested in buying, if anybody out there has the matching item. So here there is no price obviously, but someone can actually give the name of an item and a description. But the important thing is that you'll notice that the contact details is the same on both forms. Now in the form construct, you see I've actually got a grid layout designed for the contact details in both forms, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this part of the form, and I'm going to put this into a separate form, what I call a partial form, and that partial form will be then used to build a new form where I will then use that partial form insert it into the new form, which is one that will be one for buying and one for selling, but whereby the idea is that only the table structure will appear in that form, while the contact details would come from that partial form that I built. So let's start by creating a new form. So I'm going to add a new form over here. There we go. Now let's put buy. Let's start with sale form, and I'm just simply going to copy this table structure here down here with the submit button. Right, and now if I visualize this in the front end, so we have just the sales items table, but we're now missing the contact details. So let's see how we can get the contact details as an inserted form. So to do this, we first create a new form, and this is contact details for buy and sell, right? And here I'm going to simply copy this container above. Right, so here are the contact details from my previous form, and that's all. There is no submit button, there are no tables, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add a new type. I'm going to call this partial. So as you may be aware, there's a taxonomy now in for your contact forms, which is included with the Smart Grid Layout plugin, and this allows you basically to differentiate between different types of forms. So I'm creating a term called partial, and I'm going to publish. There we go. And now what I'm going to do, let me shift this behind, in this new sale form, let me just refresh this so that we have the form, the new form has been picked up in the background, and I'm gonna now add a new row. I'm going to drag this new row above at the top, and here in the corner, in the same way that you could create this into a grid to make like a table structure or something, you now can actually have a button called insert a form, and this now converts this entire section, this entire container, into an inserted form, a child form basically. That's going to be and the one that I want is this contact details for buy and sell, so I'm going to select this one, and now I'm going to press updates. There we go. So now this form has got this child form here, and if I was to visualize the form in the front end, do I still have, no, I closed that. So let's click on the form, and here we are. Here you have the form. This is the actual form, and this part of the form here is actually being picked up from the inserted child form. And I'm going to do the same thing for the buy. So the buy one, this one here, we want to pick up this table here. So let's add a new form. There you go. And now I want to insert my child form, which is my contact address. I'm going to add a new row. Let's drag this to the top. There we go. And now we insert a form. And here we select, okay, the contact details, buy and sell. And the contact details obviously the same for both forms, so we can actually use that as a child form. So let's update this. And here we are. Now let's see what it looks like in the front end. And here we have the contact details. So you see it's very easy to actually build forms using a modular structure. And the biggest advantage of doing this is, say now that, let me just close these for now. There you go. Right. Let's say now that your boss or you know the your client or whatever comes up to you and says, actually I don't, you know, we don't need to collect the middle names here in the contact details. We just need the first name and the last name. That's enough. We want to actually change this and remove the middle names. So the advantage here is that if you say you had multiple forms for, you know, maybe for different categories of sales and purchase items or something like this, where you had this contact details that had to be modified on each and every single form, if you had 10 forms, you'd have to go across all 10 forms and change this. While with the modular approach, what you can simply do is come to your partial form, this child form that you've inserted into the other ones, edit this. let's call this the full name, your given name. Okay, and now I update this form in the back end, and I just need to actually reload this form, and automatically the changes are being picked up. And you see, I loaded the sale form. I didn't actually load the contact details partial form. Although I edited the partial form, every single form in which that partial form is included gets automatically updated whenever that form gets reloaded. So this is one of the biggest advantage of using partial forms, is that they're much easier to maintain if you have multiple forms where the forms are being repeated. And another one as well is, obviously, if you have a very long form where you have to scroll down and up in your UI editor to edit the form, it's much easier to break down your form into modular sections, which are smaller to edit, smaller to manage, and then construct your final form using these different modules, because that will in any case be much easier to maintain in the long term. So I hope you found that useful. Thank you.